Hello, fellow traders. Welcome back. Welcome to another exciting episode of Market on Mic. As you all know, Market on Mic is that particular podcast that brings trading directly to your doorsteps. And we're here for another exciting episode. Happy new month, traders. I hope you had an amazing July. And trust me, August is packed with a whole lot of exciting opportunities. You don't want to miss any of them. And we're bringing to you the first episode of the month. All right, this is Daniel, and you may be wondering, I can hear that tiny voice, that other host that just, trust me, you will hear her very soon. So before that, we're going to be bringing something exciting into today's podcast or into today's episode. Trust me, you would want to sit back, relax, and put your ears to the speaker of your phone to really listen to this. And if we hold up and think about it, we're going to be asking a very important question that many traders actually don't stop to really think about. And it is stop loss really risk management? Just take a few seconds to think about it. So before we continue, I have someone in my midst, or someone that decided to take the other seat on this particular episode. So I have with me a very, very important guest that will be joining me on this particular episode. And she's usually beside me, but now she's on the other side. I don't know what she's looking for there. But anyway, she's on the other side. And bring to you Natasha. So welcome to the podcast, Natasha.
Hey everybody, and it is so good to be at the other side of the podcast. I feel like a special guest on my own show, but that's fine. So thank you very much, Daniel. What Daniel said, this is August. Happy New Month, everyone.
Yeah, thank you,
and
Natasha.
At least we know that if there is one thing that took a lot of people out of the markets last month was no proper risk management. Yeah.
So Natasha, this is not your show today. Next thing you might get. So
yes.
I will do most of the question asking, and
right.
when
I'm
I need
just
you to
going
talk,
to do the answers.
when I need you to talk, I'm going to call on you.
Okay.
All right. So it's good to actually have you on the other side, Natasha. So we're here to dig into your wealth of knowledge in regards to risk management and stop loss.
Mhm.
Right. So back the question: is stop loss really risk management? Let's be real. Now, every time you take a trade, thinking about it, if you're a newbie or maybe you're coming into the market for the very first time and you want to take your trade or you want to start trading, especially in Forex, crypto, or even the stock market, the first advice you hear from maybe your fellow traders or professional is use a stop loss.
Exactly.
They always tell you use a stop loss.
Mhm.
But is a stop loss or is using a stop loss all it takes to manage your risk?
It's a very good question. So, you cannot talk about trading without, in fact, most of the times when people talk about managing risk, they all only talk about stop loss. Like when it comes to managing risk, the first thing that comes to every trader's mind is setting your stop loss. But the thing is that stop loss is like way bigger than that. When you talk about stop loss, it's actually setting a boundary, telling the market that if this trade actually turns against me by X amount, take me out. And it actually helps prevent small losses from beginning a full-blown disaster. But the thing is, that is just one part of risk management.
All right, that's quite interesting. So from your view, stop loss doesn't automatically mean you're managing your risk.
Yes,
right?
It doesn't mean that
Right.
you're managing
So
your risk.
and thinking about it, risk management basically is a mindset, not
Yeah.
just a tool.
Exactly.
So now let's go a little bit further. What is actually the meaning of risk management?
Okay.
Right? So let me just give a brief idea before I want to hear what you think about it. The risk management is how much of your capital you're willing to lose and how you position your trade. Now let's kind of break it down a little bit like pepper and onions. Yeah, like pepper and onions. I hate pepper, guys, but for the sake of you guys, we're going to break it down like pepper and onions. So you can set a stop loss and still over leverage.
Yeah, of course you can do that.
So you can use a stop loss and enter bad trades emotionally because you go into a trade, you don't have any idea of how much you risk. You just go into a trade. Maybe you fund your account with, let's say, $1,000 and you use a standard lot on gold and you just set your stop loss randomly anywhere.
True.
But that's poor risk management.
Of course. So just like you said, when it comes to risk management, it's not just about setting stop loss. Yes, stop loss, you're able to tell the market that, okay, with this amount of money, if I'm on the bad side, take me out. And that's fine. But just like you said, you can over leverage. Risk management has to do with everything when it comes to trading. That is from your emotions to your leverage to probably your account size and your diversification comes to trading. It goes as far as keeping a trading diary. It goes as far as position size. And of course, just like you said, setting your stop loss order and all of that. So risk management starts from, one thing I always tell people about trading is that trading exposes your weak point in life generally.
Okay.
If you're not a disciplined person in life, you would see it in your trading as best as possible. So when it comes to managing risk, you want to be aware of, it's just like the way we say that a lack of knowledge is not an excuse in the market as well, because you get to pay for that. So you need to make sure that from the very beginning, when it comes to managing your account, you already understand how much of an account you have. Okay, I have $1,000.
Okay.
Now with this $1,000, what is my goal?
Okay.
What am I looking to achieve with $1,000? Yes, we all want to make profits, but you're not just working blindly, because it's going to get one market that would probably just take you from $1,000 to $100,000 in just one day. So you want to make sure that for every time that I'm in the market, what instrument am I trading? What am I leveraging? How much am I looking to make at the end of the day? And how much am I willing to lose just in case market do not go? So that is where you begin to manage your risk. So it's not like, okay, I'm going into this market right now. I'm using probably one standard lot and I'm just setting, maybe I'm risking just $50. The thing is, your trade might not be bad, but the thing is that it means that once price just retraces the picture out of the market, and we've seen market a whole lot of times whereby hit your stop loss only to go back. So you want to be able to make sure that you're making leverages that actually make sense. Gives you that time to sit on the market, wait for whatever wants to happen, like the retracement, and still head towards your direction. So you see that risk management goes as far as that, okay, I decide I want to trade just currency. Like even down to currency pairs. We have a lot of currency pairs. What particular am I going to do? The major pairs? Am I going to do the minor pairs? And this helps you to keep that emotion intact. Because for instance, if I say, okay, I'm actually going to be trading Euro USD with $1,000 account. Okay. I'm able to come to the market. I know that, okay, with this $1,000, I'm going to be leveraging this much and I'm going to be risking this much. So it already puts me at that place that even when price hits my stop loss, I am not looking to revenge trade almost. So your risk management goes as far as that.
All right. Thank you very much, Natasha. I think it's good to have you on the other side. Trust me. Basically, let me just break it down a little bit for that. So risk management, according to Natasha, is using the right lot size or position size, risking a particular percentage of your account per trade, right? Know what you're willing to expose your account to so that you can probably minor retracement against your position before the market moves in your favor. You can give that room or that allowance. So having a clear entry, having a clear stop loss and a peak profit plan, and knowing when not to trade. So yes, stop loss is part of the puzzle, but it's not the whole box.
Exactly. It's just one little space of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we actually did a trader talk with some few people on the streets to just have a brief idea of how their experience is when it comes to risk management. So we had this guy Chooks, a trader. So he made a statement that he always uses stop loss. But before he learned how to use proper risk management, he always blows account.
I was talking to a trader the other day and he was really asking me. He said, Natasha, I need you to be very honest with me. Do people really make money from trading? Right? And I'm like, why are you asking? He was like, he's been talking to other traders and they always say that 90% of new traders or 90% of traders always lose their money. So my first question to you is, that is a very correct fact, right? We know that most people lose their money, especially time trading, when it comes to this particular market. But I had to go back to ask him that, did you ever wonder that this 10% that we spoke about in a particular episode, the early traders, have you ever actually bothered yourself, what do these people do differently? And you realize that a lot of traders learn about risk management after 5-6 blown accounts. And that's just the truth. It takes somebody to lose an amount of money and like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I don't lose? But this is something that if you're able to learn it from the very beginning, it sets that different pace for trading. And that's why some people come to the market the first time and it seems like luck. Because you're able to make some amount of money. These are things that you learn before you go into the market. If you go into the market without learning them, of course, the market will teach you. But you don't want to have to lose about $5,000, $10,000 before you're going back to your drawing board and say, okay, what is risk management. I always tell traders, you cannot talk about being a financial trader and you're not speaking about risk management, except if you're ready to just keep funding, and making your broker very rich. Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Natasha. So guys, we also had a quick poll on a group of traders specifically to just get the ideas on what they think about risk management. So we had a poll, and interestingly, we had responses. About 10% of people think that risk management is actually using the stop loss.
I mean, it's fine, because at some point I thought risk management was basically just stop loss. I mean, when you talk about risk management, you're talking about stop loss. Until the market, I had to pay fees on the market. That took me back, and I realized that, okay, there was something that I was really not paying attention to. It's really hard being on the other side because I want to talk.
So please, like I told you, don't talk past what I ask.
Okay.
Don't respond more than what I ask you. All right. So we actually had a huge number of traders go for the fact that risking a certain percentage of your trading accounts is actually risk management, which is actually interesting, right? And when I say a certain percentage, we went further to put a poll on what majority risk based on the account or based on percentage. And interestingly, we saw that a majority of them chose about 5 to 10% of the accounts, which is quite huge. Natasha, what do you think? What would be a good risk approach?
Okay, so one thing about trading is, as a trader, we all have our different risk appetite, right? There are people who can go in with a very decent amount of risk. And now, when you talk about 1 to 5%, the first question that comes to my head is, what's the account size, right? Because I can have an account size of probably $100, and I'm looking to risk probably a certain percentage of that money. So it starts with, okay, we talk about 1 to 5%. What is the account size we're talking about? And of course, what are you trading? If you're trading probably instruments that are way more volatile, I mean, it's not a bad place to start, because you want to be able to leave room for retracement without having to hit your stop loss and only to the market to reverse. Even before you get to your stop loss, you see that there are certain questions you already have to answer. Like, how much is this account? What am I trading? Is the volatility of this instrument? If I'm going to give room for retracement based on the responses of this market, how high or how low do I need to place my stop loss? You can see that it works hand in hand. So you cannot just decide that, okay, fine, I'm just taking a trade. Of course, stop loss helps you, but you want to make sure that it's not just about taking a risk. It's about taking calculated risk. Exactly. So like I said, it all depends on the account size. And if your account is big enough, I mean, 1 to 5% is not bad at all, depending on what you're trading, like I said. So 1 to 5%, I feel that's actually very comfortable.
All right. Thank you very much, Natasha. How much on your own account, Natasha, or your own trading account? How much do you risk per trade?
Okay, so that's actually a very, very good question. So I actually would normally not go risk more than 30% on my account.
More than 30%?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a big trader. 30%.
Yes, I would not put it past that, at least. Nothing more than 30% on that.
So for trade, okay, is it possible, do you go as high as 10%?
As high as 10%? Well, yes. I mean, if I'm not too sure of the market, if I'm probably willing to take that more of a gamble than a trade, then probably, right? I would probably put it to 10% and just like that.
So if you're sure of a trade, how many percentage?
Yeah, I'm willing to go as high as 30.
Wow. Oh, so if you're a risky person like Natasha, wow, 30%. So you lose a trade once, that's like 30% of your accounts.
Yeah, and like I said, I already have a threshold to how much I can lose in a day.
Okay.
Probably you're hitting stop loss and I'm looking for another trade. I'm not always everywhere at the market at the same time. I like to diversify my portfolio. So on some days it could be currencies, on some days it could be commodities. But even if probably I'm not taking a 30% on one trade, I make sure that whatever trade I'm going to take that particular day, I'm not risking anything more than 30% of my account. So it could be on 5 different trades.
In a day,
I'm not putting
All right, interesting. Guys, hope you're getting a whole lot of information from this. So what do you think of people that risk 0.5%, 1% of the account?
Like I said, we all have different risk appetite. It's just like deciding that, okay, I want to trade this financial market, right? I can decide that I might have all the money in the world, but my risk appetite might not allow me to trade my indices pairs. I might be more comfortable on the forex markets based on the reactions, right? So that it all depends on that. You see people with small capital and they are hungry for volatile instruments. They will tell you that they are willing to take that 50-50 risk. For some of these people, it's already a gamble. It goes my way, fine. If it doesn't go my way, I'm fine with that. So as long as you are okay with the amount of risk that you're willing to take. So if I have an account size of $100 and I'm risking $30, I mean, if I lose $30 in a day, I should not have to go cry, because that's what I'm fine with. If I'm not fine with losing $30, then I should apply what I'm fine with losing. So if I'm comfortable with just losing $10 on a trade, that's fine, because just like we said, your psychology is very, very involved. And you want to be able to come to that particular point whereby you already made up your mind. We spoke about the elite traders the other time. They are already fine with it. In fact, they are more into risk management than profit. So if once market goes in their direction, they're making quite an amount of money. But they've made sure that they have calculated that risk and they are fine. So even if they wake up to a $2,000 loss, they already made peace with it from the very beginning. So it's not something that you have to probably come back to the market and it's like, oh, you're angry, I want to revenge trade, I'm going back to the market with a much more bigger lot size. So you have to be very comfortable. That is, okay, this is how much. So even if I wake up and market has hit my stop loss, I already made that decision.
All right, that's quite interesting. I hope you guys are taking a lot of notes, because you may not see Natasha at the other side again. All right, hope you're taking a lot of notes. So thank you very much for that school of thought, Natasha. All right, so let's go a little bit further. Let's give you a brief risk checklist. These are the things, or the quick risk sanity check before any trade. So you need to ask yourself, am I risking more than what I'm comfortable risking, or what I'm comfortable losing on a particular trade? So probably you're going into a trade and you say, okay, $500, what am I comfortable losing or risking on this particular $500? Is it $50? Is it $100? If I lose $100, what would happen? How would I feel? Would the whole world crumble? So that's, I think,
is it your school fees?
Also,
I really don't know how people get to hear about trading, but when some people talk about trading, they sold trading to them wrongly. Right? You see somebody who's like, oh, don't worry, just put your school fees in, you're able to double it. I mean, there's a very high possibility of doing that. Works that comes with doubling that account size. And that is not the work that a lot of people are aware of. They're just aware that, okay, if I get one or two trades on a very good lot size, I'm able to either double or triple this account. And not a lot of people stop to ask themselves, what if it goes the other way? Exactly.
So you need to ask yourself that particular question. Am I risking more than what I initially should? So is my stop loss based on logic or just vibes?
You cannot do vibes.
So you need to ensure that your stop loss is based on a logical.
I said stop loss based on vibes. And
really?
Yes. I mean, when it comes to applying stop loss, you just assume, I'm like, okay, market has not, I just drag that thing there. And then the next probably 5-10 minutes. So it took me quite a while. I had to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what do I need to look out for when I'm placing a stop loss? Look at the trend, look at, okay, probably how far your stop loss is. But at the end of the day, like we said, it is just based on how much you're comfortable risking. But it should not just be on vibes. You need to have calculated risk.
So you need to have your risk calculated. Don't just put your stop loss based on vibes. You need to calculate that, okay, if the market goes against me a certain amount of, or X amount of pips, am I losing that particular percentage that I've set my mind to lose, or am I just losing more? So these are the questions you need to ask.
And you see that we talk about logic or just vibes, and it's when we talk about calculating pips, it's not just calculating stop loss, rather it's not just calculating pips. The other things that have to be calculated, starting from where you are emotionally, because the market can be crazy when it wants to be crazy. And especially in a time like this, whereby Trump just wakes up one morning and he's in the mood to probably say one or two things, and before your market is just dancing and you're wondering what is going on. Exactly. Especially in times like this, you want to make sure that you understand what risk management is based on your diversification of what you trade, based on your account size, based on your emotions you're applying to that trade. Of course, where you set your stop.
All right, thank you, Natasha. Seems like you're in the mood. To talk.
You put me in this stage. I should not be in the mood.
Okay, yeah, you got me. So another question you need to ask yourself is, do I have a reason to enter the market? or am I gambling?
Very valid question.
Mm.
Very valid question. We've seen a lot of traders say, oh, I was buying because I saw a green candle. I was selling because market has been buying for 2 days and I just decided to join the buy, or it's been selling for a week now. A lot of traders don't put a lot of consideration, especially those people called scalpers. Because I know that they are very good scalpers who they already have a proper understanding of their candlesticks and all of that. But you know that scalping is one way on the market that makes you quick money and also helps you to lose well.
Yeah.
So when you want
Losing
to,
well.
so a lot of people who just enjoys going into the market to probably follow a 5-minute candlestick or
Okay.
a 1-minute candlestick. Most of them don't put into consideration a reason to enter. Because all they're doing is, I'm just following this candlestick on a very good lot size or on a big lot size. And for me, that's equal to gambling. Because it means that your profit or you're ready to lose once this candle turns another color. And you're trading in a much more lesser time frame that could give you probably buy, sell. And you see somebody be both on a buy and a sell and not making profit at all.
That's the market for you.
Definitely, just like we said, do you have a reason to enter? Even on a scalping trade, you understand there are certain things you understand, and the next candle is giving you a different direction. It gives you a reason to hold. It gives you a reason to hold that trade or a reason to exit the trade. Or if you don't have a reason why you're buying or you're selling, then there's a problem.
They're actually going to, more or less, your emotions are taking over.
Exactly.
All right, so thank you again, Natasha. So lastly, you need to ask yourself, what happens if this trade fails?
It's only 10% of people or 10% of traders that consider that. And that is why we have a whole 90%. That's why we have the whole basket actually losing most of the time. Because in our mindsets, trading, we're here to make profits. And it takes a very good mentor to also educate you on the losses part of it. Because I always tell everybody I come across that loss is a journey in trading. If you're not ready for that loss, if you're not ready for that journey, then don't do it, because you're going to lose money. So now a lot of people just goes and okay, yes, I'm going to make trade. And that's why those guys that actually use trade signals, that's why they never make it. Not because trade signals is bad, right? But now, what happens if this trade fails? I have done my analysis and definitely, if you've been trading or probably you've been able to gain an amount of knowledge in trading, it gets to a time that you're very confident about where the market is headed. And this experience, I'm telling you, happened today. And you're taking a trade and probably you have a $50 account size. And maybe as your signal giver, I probably have maybe times 10 of that. And I know I'm probably even looking out to leave the trade probably for the whole week. Maybe it's even a swing trade. Now, somebody or another trader has about $50 and you're probably willing to take that risk and probably goes in with a 0.1. And then market is just retracing pip by pip. And he's already seeing a negative of $30. Of course, panic comes in.
Yeah, true.
Because he wants to save that account. But he did not give that consideration of, okay, as much as I want to make profit, what if this? Because even as experienced and expert traders, there are times you can have losses the entire week. There are times an entire month your portfolio could be red. And it doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing, right? Exactly. So a lot of people don't put into consideration of what happens when this trade fails, and that is why we have lesser percentage of traders who really do care about risk management.
Wow, that's actually a whole lot. So traders or fellow traders, if you're actually really honest with yourself and still press buy or sell button, then you're actually a real disciplined trader, not a dreamer or gambler. So you need to be honest with yourself. So thank you, Natasha, for being on the other side of this particular episode. So that is actually a wrap for this particular episode. Is stop loss really risk management? So using a stop loss is important, but it's only one soldier in your army. Remember that. Don't rely on it alone. Use proper sizing, stay disciplined, and always protect your capital. Remember, preservation beats profit. You need to preserve your capital. If not, you won't be able to take another opportunity the next day if you blow all of your accounts just in one trade. You can't trade tomorrow if you blow your account today. Remember that. As always, this is Market on Mic. I won't go without saying big thank you again to Natasha. I mean, as much as usually beside me.
Yes, guys. So
Thank you.
do not forget to follow us at Market on
Yes,
Mic,
follow us on Market
and
Mike.
share this episode with a fellow trader who needs this reminder.
Yeah, and put on the notification bell so you get notified when we post a new
Yep.
episode. Right? So the next time, fellow traders, trade wisely, and may your stop loss only activate when it must. See you in the market. Bye.